Hi and welcome back to Studio Tamera, the mystical paintress. It is nighttime, very cold as you can see from my breath, here in Michigan. It is snowing out, but I'm on my back porch under this little cover, and I thought it would be fun to paint some snow on this grapevine here real quick. So we are going to try something new, painting in the dark, and it ought to be a lot of fun. Let's get started. Let's send a shout out to all those folks out there plowing snow for us so that we can get out in the world tomorrow. Here we go. By the way, if you like my videos, please hit like and subscribe. It's free and the support really helps my channel. Also, thank you to all my Patreon sponsors. You help me to keep doing what I love and putting all these fabulous videos and having all this fun and being silly. So thank you and have a great day. All right, the grapevine that grows up over my deck is completely covered in snow, as is the world. And it is dark. There's Rod Doberman. Dark and snowing. Right, Ra? Ready to paint? Come on, Ra. Here comes my buddy. For any of those of you out there that are new to plein air painting, this is my Soltech easel. I keep my paints and my brushes right in here. It folds up, it's portable, and it's all contained. I have my palette the same every time. I've done other videos of the order of my paints. And the best way to start is jump in. I have here a very well-loved filbert brush. I am just going to mix some gray and kind of, can you see that a little better? There we go. Just kind of dip my brush in the turp and start drawing. I'm going to do like a close-up here of this. So we're gonna do something cool. We're gonna do negative painting. So you may hear some coyotes in the distance. We certainly have them. Okay, so we're gonna start off with some negative painting. So I'm gonna pick an area up here and I'm going to mimic it on the board. All right? I'm gonna do this fast. And I'm going to be fearless about this. Sometimes you just got to be very fearless. So, So I'm negative painting out in the snow at night in Michigan here. It's very cold. Okay, so here is my example of negative painting. All I'm doing is mimicking the branches that I see. I'm using ultramarine blue and brown to make my dark. Can also use black, ultramarine blue and brown, black, anything dark. Oh, I know it's cold puppy, but we're gonna do this real quick little video. Okay, so this vine goes here, and in the summer this is just covered in wonderful grapevines and grapes, and they're all wild, so the birds come and get them. It's quite lovely. All right, Ra, no crying. Hopefully he'll move around enough to keep that sensor light on. Okay. So, I'm still just negative painting, combining blue and blacks. I'm going to even add a little bit of violet gray to my pile just to make it more interesting. And let's see. You know, oftentimes everyone's looking for this beautiful vista to paint, and we forget that there's inspiration all around us, even on old dead vines covered in snow, even, you know, anywhere. Here it's nighttime. Everyone else is probably curled up reading a good book or watching a movie, and I'm out on my back porch while it's snowing and painting. All right. So I'm just squinting and placing darks, squinting and placing darks. This is a very big, thick one here. It kind of runs down the middle. And whatever you see, just squint and put it in. So this has a little piece here. This vine's been here about 25 years. It was here when I moved in here, and I kept fighting with it, and finally I decided, shit, I might as well just let it grow, and it went right up to my second story deck and over, and I have to kind of prune it. Otherwise it gets a little unruly and unmanageable, but yeah. So our vine is starting to take place. This is just a quick study, just to give you guys an example that, you know, there's beauty and inspiration everywhere in your own backyard, all over. This is just a very quick little painting. Get big brushes, put what you see. So the sensor light is a challenge. This is causing problems. Another unforeseen obstacle in the world of plein air painting. Obstacles aren't just the weather and the bugs and the pollution and the people, but apparently sensor lights are a problem as well. Whining dogs. No whiner, baby Ra. No whiner. Okay. So we've got this big main area. I'm squinting and putting this one in. And I'm just trying to negative paint the best I can here. Ra, shh. All right, we're getting some. Okay, so anytime you want to bring something up, whether it is a vine or a tree from the ground, you hold the tip of your brush, set it down. We're going to have some snow here, and you're just going to turn it and twist it, lift it like this. And see how I just twist it and turn it, and it gives me my shapes. So it's a little brown. I'm just anticipating the okay, painting on your back deck. If you have a sensor light, turn it on so it's just on all the time. That's a very good thing that we've learned here today, because it keeps going off on me and that's not good. All right, so we are kind of getting this frosty scene just with some turpentine, a little burnt umber, an ultramarine blue, and a little pile here. Occasionally I add a little bit of violet gray. You can even use straight black, right? And I'm just mimicking what I see here. Okay. There are, okay, so we've got our basic vine. Now you want to squint, and it looks like some of the colors, very little color here. It's very monochromatic, meaning just monochrome is like different values of the same color, kind of, plus black and white, really. So what we got here is we've got something very similar. So the only place I see color is I see a little sienna in these branches here. So we're going to do the snow oil painting. You do your darkest darks first so that they don't get milky, and then you go from there. So I'm going to mix a little burnt sienna and a little cobalt, and I'm going to add a little violet gray. I'm not using a lot of color here. A little more sienna till I kind of get this kind of color, which I kind of see in these branches. And then I'm going to take my brush sideways. I guess I might need a little more of the sienna color. Take my brush sideways and just, see your brush sideways, just kind of scrumble up and down. There's going to be inconsistencies and lightness and darkness. And then just place a few things. You're going to have, this is shaggy, this grapevine. It's very shaggy. So we're going to have some shaggy areas as well. I never thought a dead grapevine at 9 o'clock at night in the dark would be a good subject. Never in a million years. Isn't it amazing what we can come up with when we just let our imagination go wild? Okay, next I see some lights. So I'm going to add a little orange to some sienna here. There's a little bit of orange to the sienna, get it real light. And that's how I get these effects here. So this just kind of hangs. See how it just kind of shags and hangs? This is a good exercise and practice just in observation, because if you can observe this, when you're out in the field, you can observe anything. We're mixing a little violet gray and brown for the branches here that are kind of going everywhere. A little brown and violet gray. This guy. Now you don't want to overwork this because this is an impressionistic, free, fun painting. I'm going to mix a little gray too. And if you overwork it, it's going to look overworked. You're going to lose all of the freshness and the spontaneity. And you're going to be bummed you did that. There is such a thing in plein air painting as doing too much. Like that stroke right there I just did. Too much, don't need it. Okay. Looking at your subject. You can't make these things up. And sometimes people get so used to painting that they just kind of get all caught looking at their painting and they forget to look at the subject. So that's a good tip too. Like, see this big crack in there between those two? Put it in. Whatever you see, put it in. Because if you see it in the painting, it will read right. Okay, we need a little bit of light. Let's do some snow. Come on in. Okay, so if you find you did a little bit too much on a branch, you can always take a rag with some turp or Gamsol, and you can just wipe it off like this. All right, so don't be afraid to do that. I did this on purpose just as a learning opportunity for you to see a clean rag. Bam, it just lifts it right off. So, okay, so I mixed a little bit of Naples and white because I did see a couple spots in here. I use my fingers a lot too. Just a couple little highlighted areas. And I just wanted to touch real quick on them. Okay, time for snow. So, snow, we are going to take a little bit of cobalt blue and a little bit of white, make a nice little color like this, and squint, and everywhere there's shadows, this color snow is there, right? Anywhere there's any shadow, and there's a lot of shadow here because I've got this direct light on my house, which I know is going to be going off any minute. And I'm just touching the brush here, right? A little more blue, a little more white. Touch the brush. A little more blue. Just kind of touch the brush. Okay? Touch it. Taking a little 1-inch palette knife, and I am going to load some white right onto one edge of this palette knife. And then I'm going to squint, and wherever I see a lot of white, I am going to put it on there. Just like that. Now, you don't want to overdo it, and you don't want to make it all the same on every branch. The reason for this is then it won't look real. Nature's random. I say this in every video. Okay, so we are getting some white. Look up, squint. Where do I see white? I see some white here. I see some white back here. I see some white here. And granted, then if your knife gets dirty like this, you got to wipe it off and put some new white on there. And our mind tells us, oh, all these branches have snow, and you want to cover every branch. But visually, it won't look right. So you just want to kind of, and this is so cool. This is so cool because it just snowed, and the snow is sticking to these, even in places it normally wouldn't. Don't be afraid to use your fingers. Load your knife. Here we go. There's a bunch right here. This is a happy mess, but how many people can say that they've come outside and just looked at what was on their back porch and said, wow, this is beautiful, and I'm going to paint it, and painted it. Yeah, I might be crazy. It is freaking cold out here, but that's all right. Obviously, if you've been plein air painting for 10 or 20 years, like I have, you know, a lot of these concepts are probably pretty redundant and obvious. But what I know is the more you paint, the more you learn. No matter how long you've painted, you can always learn things from nature. And so like this glob of snow is too big. I'm just going to push it in. And it's starting to look almost like how I want. Okay, this glob right here I think is too big, which would be completely fine to leave if you like it. But if you don't like this glob, just load your brush with a dark color and swoosh it off of there. Okay. All right, next. The next thing is we're going to put some ghost branches in the back. I'm just going to dip my brush in turp, dip it in white, and put a couple, just hold my brush like this, and just put a couple ghost branches that I see in the background. Maybe I didn't quite, oops, see now I don't like that. That's too drawn in. Doesn't look random. So what do we do in that situation? Grab the rag, wipe it down. Or if you really don't like it, get some black. Watch this. Oh, the beauty of oil. And now there's something incredibly calming and beautiful about being out here at this time of night. Nobody else is out here. Nobody else is probably even awake. Practicing with the palette knife. Putting just some chunks of white snow where I see them. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to make it look like it's snowing on top of your vine. Okay, it is snowing and we want to make it look like snow. So take a filbert brush, dip it in your turp, dip it in the water, or I'm sorry, dip it in the white till it's like the consistency of water. And you're going to take your thumb on the tip and flick it. Dip it in here, flick it. Yes, this is random. And yes, this is a little scary, but that's how snow is. Very random. And there it is. Well, here it is, ladies and gentlemen, my snowing in snowing in Michigan painting of the grapevine. I had a great time doing this, and I hope you guys painted along at home or painted something fun in your yard. There you go. Oh, now my hands are numb.